for many people in positions that you are, or maybe lots of decision-making positions, have a struggle balancing between their personal and professional growth.
Yeah.
How are you doing that?
It's not easy. I think also trying to find a balance can take quite a bit of time. It's something, I guess, you learn as time goes by. You know, I've had a whole corporate career for almost a decade. So there's been a lot of, you know, missteps along the way, also figuring out things. I did mention I took a career break. So that tells you a lot. And I think at that time I was struggling with, you know, burnout, trying also to find my own time. Now, getting time off is a non-negotiable because of what I went through.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if you're just starting out, you might not be able to figure out that balance. But I think it comes with time. Also, surrounding yourself with people who understand and who can kind of like spot some of these things helps. Because sometimes when I'm having conversations with younger people, my siblings, I can tell when they're kind of like frustrated or they're not taking time off, and I'm like, maybe during the weekend you need to close off the laptop, and just go out there, touch grass. That's what they're saying nowadays.
I agree with you on that, because there is a point in a career where you get to feel frustrated. You feel like your energy is focused on a lot of things, and I think the break gives you the clarity on what to focus on and what not to focus on. And given the whole addiction to just scrolling on phone, I think a lot of people don't realize that contributes to your burnout, that contributes to your frustration, and definitely being out of that is important. So Jasiri is an incredible network. I would love to hear about your proudest moments in Jasiri.
It's hard to pick one. Can I maybe say three?
Yes, you can. Yes, definitely.
I think the first one was when we just started. I think there was such excitement because there isn't anything similar in the UK, at least for me, that was kind of, brought about like what we had done with Jasiri Network. So just straight out of the gate, I think on our, was it third month, I remember being invited to the Kenya High Commission to kind of curate a forum for young professionals in collaboration with like the Ministry of Diaspora. And I was like, what? That was amazing for me because it was such an incredible opportunity. And I think the next one came in just a few months later, was being invited to the Buckingham Palace to represent, young professionals. Got to meet King, the King as well. So that was like really, really cool. And I think the other bit would be also kind of like our just concluded summit in December. That was our first event, our first big event in Kenya. And that was such a big dream of mine to bring Jasiri Network to the African continent. So yeah, those three, definitely top three for me.
Okay.
Among very many others, but I would say those are the top ones.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
And I would love to talk about partnership. Africa currently really thrives on partnerships. When we get to work together, when we get to have combined efforts, we get to have bigger impacts. What would you say are the biggest partnerships you've had? Or by big, I mean big on impact. What is those partnerships that you've had that have really, really scaled you?
I would say Jasiri Network, we've been very fortunate to work with incredible people, incredible partners, and even just the community itself. We have incredible young people, and even like leaders as well, who either have kind of like given themselves a title of advisory board, and they're always, reaching out, sharing their gifts in any way that I need or just your network needs. But I think in terms of the bigger partnerships has been with, so there's this charity called the Africa Center in the UK. They have a building in one of the locations in London, in Southwark. And for 1 year, we partnered with them where they gave us space to do our events for free.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's where Jasiri Network literally grew. So 2024, it started in the last quarter of 2023, and all the way to the third quarter of 2024, we had access to the space for free in exchange for also just our community being there, accessing the bar, the restaurant, and just having a more thriving community center on Saturdays. And it was really, really impactful, both for us, because that's where we grew from 30 people to 80 to 100. We couldn't fit in the space. And then they're like, Nancy, we love what you're doing. Would love to continue doing this, but we just don't have the space to accommodate your events. So now we've had to move out, but they were so instrumental because, as you can imagine, London is so expensive. Getting a space that can accommodate 30 to 50 to 80 people can be quite expensive. And they took a bet on us, giving us that space, giving us that conducive environment. There's a restaurant in the building, there's a bar in the building. Just, I don't know, Kenyans and Africans, we love a good time. So it really, really worked out. And you could see the growth we had with them. And to this day, they're still supporting us, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah, the beauty about life is when you put yourself out there, there are people who really get to see the good in you, what you are doing, and support you.
Yeah.
So Jasiri on socials is all out here. So I would love to hear, what should we expect from you guys in the next 5 years? Like, what should we be excited for?
There's so many things, Sylvia, and I'm also quite excited. I think over the past 2-3 years with Jasiri, it's definitely evolved into different, aspects. I think our biggest focus in 2023 was professionals, and even part of like 2024. But we also want to bring along the entrepreneurs on board. Also with Jasiri Network, I wanted to be like a bridge between the African continent and also the African diaspora. Because sometimes just getting that mix right can be quite challenging. And also trust. I think when it comes to the African diaspora, with some of the things that happen, not knowing who are credible people to deal with. So I want Jasiri Network to be kind of like that bridge, and with our events in the UK and in the western parts of the market, and also in Africa, to also allow that kind of interaction. So whether it's the diaspora coming home for the holidays, or people wanting to move back because we've had a huge chunk of young African diaspora, whether first generation or otherwise, trying to move to the continent, but sometimes can be quite overwhelming. Like, I've experienced moving and it's not easy. So with our events in Kenya and also our presence in Kenya, it allows them to have a feel of the continent and also just start figuring out for themselves how they want to return, and also for investments, for entrepreneurs. Like, there's a lot, but I think at the core of it, Jasiri Network, I'd love for it to be a bridge and a connector between the two worlds.
Yeah, I get to talk about African storytelling, and sometimes we get to see that over the past years, the storytelling hasn't really positioned us for the good. And I see your platform as Jasiri Network as one of those places that would really redefine the stories of Africa.
Yeah.
And also debunk a lot of myths that are out there about 100%. Africa.
Oh, you wouldn't believe the sort of things I get to hear. Do you know, somebody asked me, oh, do you have buses in Kenya? I was like, I didn't know what to say. And sometimes it's not even personal. They don't know, right? And it's so interesting as well when I'm telling somebody, oh yeah, some of the coffee or tea that you drink in the UK, it actually comes from Kenya, the flowers. My favorite thing actually is, from where I stay, there's a little store that I go to shop, and the French beans are produced in Kenya. So some of those things is, I feel like the Western market, other countries out there, they don't know much about Africa. But as Africans, we know so much about them. And I'm like, there's so much to explore in Africa, in Kenya. We're so diverse, 54 countries. And even in Kenya, like 42 tribes, 47 counties. There's a lot. And I feel like we need to tell our stories more, and we need to be in charge of our stories.
Yeah, I really think like Africans need to know the role they play in their economy.
Yeah.
And with the rise of digitization and all, envisioning a future where we Africans do participate in telling our stories.
Yeah.
Because we realize from a professional perspective, as an SEO person, I get to see that there's not a lot of content about Africa. That's why a lot of people don't really get the clarity of what Africa looks like.
Yeah.
So given our professions, you used your profession to really put Africa out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really see that. So,
and you guys are also doing the same, the Kenya Wall Street, telling the stories. And I think the young people as well, everywhere on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I think the narrative is changing and slowly changing. I love following some of this amazing young people telling the stories of the continent. And sometimes I'm like, wait, that's in Kenya? I didn't know. So I'm also discovering things, and I think we're in the right path, I think.
Yeah. I would also say we're on the right track.
Yeah.
Getting platforms like Kenyan Wall Street and to tell the stories really like simplifies
100%.
the lives of Africans.
Yeah.
So given your expertise and the wisdom you've been able to gain in diaspora, what are the advices you would give to like Africans in diaspora who've maybe just gotten there, are trying to build a community, are trying to like build that career?
Yeah. It's hard. I won't even lie. My first winter, first of all, forget even the work. Because I feel like the work is work.
Yeah.
You're professional. You'll go through it. It's fine. I think it's the other side, the personal side, which I think affects you more than you think. Because when I went to the UK, I was going as an experienced, professional. I was going to do the same thing I was doing in Kenya. But what was different was the place, the weather, the food, the people. I think that's the most challenging part. I will say to them though that it gets better. It gets better. After my first winter, I was like, damn, never again. Never again. But you learn and you just, you go with it, right? Find people that care for you. Put your mental well-being first. Make sure to check on yourself. And by all means, make sure to get support from people, your friends. If you need professionals as well, a therapist goes a long way. And there's no shame. There's no shame in seeking help. And I would say just keep going. You're doing an amazing job. That's what I would tell them.
Yeah.
Because there's no two ways about it. You'll just have to go through it. And hopefully you end on the other side, victorious. But if it doesn't work out, it's fine. Come home, no shame at all. No shame at all. And everybody has their own unique journey.
Yeah, that's so amazing. So as a leader, what would you say are the habits that have shaped you today?
So many. I would say so many. Starting all the way back from me being young and my parents. I think my parents did an incredible job. My mom is a teacher, so you can imagine. My late dad was an accountant, so he was very big on numbers. Like, you had to account for everything. I would say there was a lot of like discipline growing up.
Yeah,
you can imagine with the mom being a teacher, and even like in the village, she was a teacher there. I couldn't do anything wrong because everybody knew my mother. So there was a lot of that, so a lot of discipline, and even when I started doing sports in school, lots of discipline as well. Education wise as well, like lots of discipline. I'll say discipline. They normally say hard work eats talent for breakfast. I think that's true. Really put yourself out there, really for all your goals, or everything that we want to go for it. Don't be scared to start. Sometimes I know starting feels very awkward, you're scared of failure, but that's the process. So put yourself out there, work hard, discipline, and yeah, I think you'll be good. I think it's worked for me. It's worked for me, so I think it should work for a few people as well.
Yeah, I think discipline always like goes across everything and for everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for sharing your time with us here at the Kenyan
you.
Wall Street, and thank you for your incredible insights.
Amazing. Thank you, Sylvia.